Jinho Park stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Fleet's flagship, watching the stars through the wide viewport. He had been a commander for 12 years, but nothing in his training had prepared him for this moment. The alien ships appeared without warning, hundreds of them, surrounding Earth's solar system like a net. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Each vessel was larger than Earth's biggest space station, made of materials that seemed to shift colors in the light. Jinho had dreamed of this day since he was a child, first contact with alien life. But his dreams had been different. In his dreams, humans and aliens met as friends, as equals. This was not that dream. "Commander, they're sending a message," said Lieutenant Yuna, her hands shaking as she worked the communication panel. "It's in every language we have. They know everything about us." Jinho's stomach turned cold. "Put it through." The screen flickered, and a face appeared. It was not human, but it was close enough to be disturbing. Too many eyes, skin like crystal. But the expression was clear. It was disgust. "Humans of Earth," the alien said. Its voice translated perfectly into Korean, then English, then every other language simultaneously. "I am Speaker Valen of the Galactic Council. We have observed your species for the past 50 of your years. We have studied your history, your wars, your violence. We have watched you tear apart your own planet in your hunger for resources and power." Jinho wanted to argue, to defend humanity, but the words stuck in his throat. How could he? Everything the alien said was true. "The Council has made its decision," Speaker Valen continued. "Humanity is too dangerous to join galactic civilization. You are too young, too violent, too reckless. You would bring chaos to a galaxy that has known peace for 10,000 years. We can change," Jinho said, stepping forward. "Give us a chance. Let us prove ourselves." The alien's expression did not shift. "You will have that chance, Commander Park. Behind your barrier." The screen went dark. Jinho felt his heart racing. What barrier? What are they talking about? His question was answered moments later. Through the viewport, Jinho saw something impossible. The stars began to disappear. Not all at once, but slowly. Like lights being turned off, one by one. A wall of pure energy spread across space. Blue and shimmering, cutting the solar system off from everything beyond. "Sir, sensors are going crazy," Yuna shouted. "Whatever that barrier is, it's blocking everything. Communications, travel, even light from certain spectrums. We're cut off." Jinho watched as the last stars vanished behind the wall. Earth's sun still shone, and the planets were still visible. But beyond the edge of the solar system, there was only the blue shimmer of the barrier. They were in a cage, a prison made of light. The final message from Speaker Valen came through one last time. "You will remain here until you prove worthy, or until you destroy yourselves. The choice is yours. The Council will check on you in a few centuries. Perhaps by then, you will have learned peace." Then silence. Complete and total silence from the galaxy beyond. Jinho ordered his ship back to Earth. The trip took 3 days. And in that time, the full weight of what happened spread across humanity. Every nation, every city, every person learned the same terrible truth. They were alone. The galaxy had looked at humanity and decided they were not good enough. They were too dangerous, too broken, too violent to be trusted. Some people cried, some people rioted, some people simply gave up hope, but not everyone. Jinho attended an emergency meeting at the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva. Leaders from every nation gathered, along with scientists, military commanders, and representatives from every major organization on the planet. The room was filled with anger and fear in equal measure. "We should have expected this," said President Martinez, her face tired. "We can barely keep peace among ourselves. Why would aliens think we're ready for the galaxy?" "Because we are." General Minji Choi slammed her fist on the table. "So we've had wars. So we've made mistakes. Every species must go through growing pains. They didn't give us a chance." A scientist named Sora Kim stood up. She was young, barely 30, but her reputation was already legendary. She had helped design Earth's first faster-than-light communication system. Fighting among ourselves won't help. The barrier is real, and it's not going away just because we're angry. I've been analyzing the energy readings. This technology is centuries beyond anything we have. So, what do we do? Asked Jinho. Just wait? Just sit here for centuries, hoping they'll let us out? Sora smiled. And there was something sharp in that smile. No. Commander Park. We study. We learn. We build. They've locked us in here. True. But they've also given us time. Time without interference. Time to advance without anyone watching over our shoulder. Another person spoke up. It was Hyunwoo Lee, captain of Earth's fastest military vessel. She's right. We've always been divided. Humans fighting humans. But now? Now we have a common enemy. Not the aliens themselves, but this cage they've put us in. What if we used this time to unite? Really unite. Not just on paper, but in purpose. The room fell silent as people considered his words. They think we're too dangerous, too violent. Hyunwoo continued. Maybe they're right. Maybe we are dangerous. But what if we became dangerous in a different way? What if we became so advanced, so strong, that when they come back in a few centuries, they'll be the ones who are afraid? Jinho felt something stirring in his chest. It was not hope, not exactly. It was something fiercer. It was determination. The barrier has a weakness, Sora said quietly. It must. Every technology does. It might take us decades to find it. It might take centuries. But if we work together, if we focus everything we have on understanding this prison, we can break free. General Minji nodded slowly. And when we do, we won't be asking for permission anymore. The meeting lasted 12 more hours. By the end, a plan was formed. Earth would unite under a single banner for the first time in human history. All resources would be pooled. Every scientist would work on understanding the barrier and developing new technology. Every military force would be reorganized into a unified defense fleet. Every person would be educated about what happened and why. Humanity would not beg. Humanity would not wait quietly. Humanity would evolve. As Jinho left the meeting and looked up at the night sky, he saw the blue shimmer of the barrier covering the stars. It was beautiful in a way, like a dome of light, protecting Earth. But Jinho knew the truth. It was not protection. It was imprisonment. We'll break free, he whispered to the stars he could no longer see. And when we do, the galaxy will remember what it means to underestimate humanity. The barrier hummed above, uncaring and eternal. But inside that cage, something new was being born. Not a divided species fighting among themselves, but a united force with a single purpose. The galaxy had exiled Earth, thinking humans would destroy themselves or learn humility. They were wrong on both counts. Humanity would learn something far more dangerous. They would learn patience, unity, and determination. And when they finally broke free, the galaxy would face something it had never seen before. Humans with a grudge and the power to back it up. 237 years had passed since the barrier went up. Everyone who had seen that first day was dead now, gone to dust and memory. But their children's children's children remembered. Every human child learned the story in school. The day the galaxy said no. The day Earth became a prison. General Minji Choi, named after her great-great-grandmother who had fought in those first meetings, stood in the construction bay and looked up at the ship being built above her. It was massive. Larger than anything humanity had ever created before. The generation ship Resilience was almost complete, one of 50 such vessels being built in secret across the solar system. It's beautiful, said engineer Taeho Yoon, walking up beside her. He was a small man with tired eyes, but his mind was sharp as broken glass. 40 years of my life went into designing these drives. Minji nodded. Will they work? They'd better, Taeho said with a dry laugh. Because if they don't, we've wasted 2 centuries. The Cascade Drive was Taeho's masterpiece. While the rest of humanity had focused on trying to break or study the barrier, Taeho had taken a different approach. He had asked a simple question. What if we don't break the barrier? What if we go around it? The answer had taken him 40 years to find. The Cascade Drive did not bend space like normal, faster than light engines. It tore through it, punching into a different dimension for split seconds before emerging back into normal space. It was violent, dangerous, and used enough energy to power a city for a year in a single jump. But it worked, even through the barrier. How many test runs have we done? Minji asked. 17, Taeho replied. All successful. The last one went 3 light years before returning. The barrier didn't even notice. Minji felt her heart beat faster. 3 light years. That was beyond the solar system. That was freedom. When can we launch a manned mission? Taeho was quiet for a moment. General, we could launch tomorrow if you gave the order, but Admiral Do-yoon wants to wait. Minji understood. Admiral Do-yoon Kang was the head of Earth's Unified Defense Fleet, a position that had been created after the barrier went up. He was careful, strategic, patient, traits that humanity had learned over the past 2 centuries. She found Do-yoon in his office, staring at a map of known space. The map was old, from before the barrier, showing the locations of alien civilizations that humanity had detected but never reached. We're ready, Minji said without greeting. Do-yoon did not look up from the map. Are we? The ships work. The drives work. We can leave whenever we want. That's not what I asked, Do-yoon said, finally turning to face her. He was older than Minji, in his 60s. With gray hair and scars from the training accidents that had marked the early days of the Cascade Drive testing. I asked if we are ready. Not our ships. Us. Humanity. Minji felt frustration rising. We've been ready for decades. We've united. We've advanced. We've done everything we planned to do. What more do you want? Do-yoon walked to the window and looked out at Earth below. The planet was different now. Cleaner. The wars that had marked the 21st and early 22nd centuries were gone. Humanity had learned, finally, that fighting among themselves was pointless when they had a common enemy. You know what I worry about? Do-yoon asked. I worry that the moment we break free, we'll do exactly what the Council feared. We'll rush out there with our new weapons and our new technology, and we'll prove them right. That we're too dangerous, too violent. So we do nothing? Minji demanded. We stay in this cage forever? No, Do-yoon said softly. We break free. But we do it smart. We don't announce ourselves. We don't charge at the Council with weapons blazing. We scout. We watch. We learn. And only when we truly understand what we're dealing with, only then do we act. Minji wanted to argue, but she could not. Do-yoon was right. Humanity had spent 2 centuries learning patience. It would be stupid to throw it away now. How long? She asked. The barrier is failing, Do-yoon said. Our scientists detected it 6 months ago. Whatever technology the Council used, it's breaking down. They probably forgot about it. 200 years is a long time for them too. In another year, maybe 2, the barrier will collapse on its own. Minji felt her eyes widen. And we wait? Even though we could leave now? We wait, Do-yoon confirmed. We let them think we're still trapped. We let them think we're still the same scared species they locked away. And while they think that, we send out scout ships, quiet ships, ships that watch and listen and report back. We build an intelligence network before they even know we're free. It made sense. Minji hated that it made sense, but it did. 3 months later, Minji stood in a different room, watching a different kind of ship. This one was small, sleek, built for stealth rather than combat. Commander Yuna Song was doing final checks before departure. She was the best pilot in the fleet, chosen specifically for this mission. First contact, second time around, Yuna said with a nervous smile. Think they'll be happy to see us? No, Minji said honestly. But that's not why you're going. You're going to watch, to learn, to see what the galaxy has become in our absence. Yuna nodded. And if I'm discovered? You run. The Cascade drive is faster than anything they have. At least, it should be. We've had 2 centuries to advance while they've been at peace. Use that advantage. The small ship launched quietly, slipping away from Earth's orbit with minimal power signature. When it was far enough from the sun, the Cascade drive activated. Space tore open like fabric being ripped, and the ship vanished. It returned 3 weeks later. Yuna's report changed everything. They haven't advanced at all, she told the assembled commanders, her voice filled with disbelief. I spent 2 weeks observing a council trade station. Their ships, their technology, even their weapons. It's all the same as it was 200 years ago, maybe even older. That's impossible, said scientist Junho Nam, who had taken over Sora Kim's position after she retired. No civilization stagnates for that long. They did, Yuna insisted, and I know why. Peace. 10,000 years of peace means 10,000 years of no pressure to innovate, no competition, no threats. They've been using the same technology for so long, they've forgotten how to create new things. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. We've surpassed them, Tejo said quietly. In 2 centuries, locked in a cage, we've become more advanced than civilizations that have had access to the entire galaxy. Admiral Doyun leaned back in his chair, a slow smile spreading across his face. Then we don't rush. We expand quietly. We claim worlds they think are worthless. We build infrastructure and systems they ignore. We become strong before they even realize we're free. How long? Minji asked. Another 50 years, Doyun said. Maybe less. We build in secret. We expand in silence. And when we're ready, when we're truly ready, then we announce ourselves. Not as the species they exiled, as the power they created. The plan was set in motion. The barrier collapsed 18 months later, exactly as predicted. Humanity waited, watching to see if the Council noticed. They did not. The galaxy had forgotten about Earth, exactly as humanity had hoped. Scout ships slipped through the now open space, mapping systems, finding worlds. Colony ships followed, slow and careful, avoiding any area that might be patrolled. Mining operations started in asteroid fields that the Council had marked as too dangerous or too expensive to harvest. Trade began through intermediaries, with humans selling resources and buying information. And all the while, humanity grew stronger. Minji, now a fleet admiral herself, watched as the first hidden human colony celebrated its 10th anniversary. The planet was harsh, with storms that could tear apart buildings and temperatures that swung wildly. The Council had marked it as uninhabitable, but humans lived there now, thousands of them, and they were thriving. We're everywhere, Tejo told her during a visit to the colony. He was old now, his hair completely white, but his eyes still sharp. In systems the Council thinks are empty. On worlds they think are worthless. We're like shadows in their civilization. And they don't even know we're there. How many colonies now? Minji asked. 47. With more being established every month. And not just colonies. Shipyards. Research stations. Military outposts. We're building an empire in the spaces between their worlds. Minji looked up at the stormy sky and smiled. The Council wanted to lock us away until we learned our lesson. I wonder what they'll think when they discover what we actually learned. That isolation breeds innovation, Tejo said. That underestimation is fatal. And that humanity does not forget. The galaxy thought humans were still trapped behind a barrier that no longer existed. They thought Earth was still alone, still primitive, still locked away. They were wrong. Humanity was free. Humanity was everywhere. And humanity was patient. The storm was coming. The Council just did not know it yet. Captain Nari Bay sat in her command chair, watching the sensors as her ship drifted through the asteroid field. Her vessel, the Shadow, was built for exactly this kind of work. Small, quiet, nearly invisible to most scanning technology. For the past 5 years, she had been running supplies between human colonies in Council space. Always careful, always hidden. Today was different. Today, She was being followed. "Captain, the Council ship is closing distance," her navigator reported. "They've been tracking us for 3 hours now." Nari nodded calmly. This had been bound to happen eventually. Humanity had been operating in secret for 50 years. But 50 years was a long time to stay hidden. Someone was going to notice eventually. "Can they identify us?" she asked. "Negative. Our transponder is broadcasting as an independent trader from the Kelth system. They shouldn't suspect anything. Every now. Then let's see what they want," Nari said. "Open communications." The screen flickered, showing a Council patrol officer. He looked bored, like this was routine. "Unidentified vessel, you are operating in restricted mining territory. State your business and prepare for inspection." Nari kept her expression neutral. "This is Trader Vessel Wanderer. We're hauling processed minerals from the outer rim. Our permits should be in order." The officer checked something off-screen, then frowned. "Your flight path is unusual. You've been through 7 different systems in the past month, all in regions marked as hazardous or depleted. That's why the minerals are so valuable." Nari replied smoothly. "Nobody else wants to risk those regions. We do. And we charge accordingly." The officer did not look convinced. "Stand by for inspection. We're sending a boarding team." Nari felt her heart rate increase, but she kept her voice steady. "Understood. We'll prepare to receive your team." She cut the communication and turned to her crew. "How fast can we jump?" "Cascade drive needs 2 minutes to charge," her engineer said. "But if we jump now, they'll definitely know something is wrong." Nari made a quick decision. "Let them board. Our cargo is legitimate. Our papers are legitimate. We've done this before." What she did not say was that this time felt different. The Council patrol officer had been more suspicious than usual. Like he was looking for something specific. The boarding team arrived 15 minutes later. 3 Council security officers in standard armor, carrying weapons that looked ancient to Nari's eyes. Human weapons had advanced far beyond these simple energy rifles. "Where's your captain?" the lead officer asked. "I'm Captain Sung," Nari lied, using one of her many false identities. "Welcome aboard. Feel free to inspect the cargo bay." The officers moved through the ship with practiced efficiency. They checked the cargo, which was exactly what Nari had claimed. Processed rare minerals from dangerous asteroid fields, legal, valuable, and boring. But then one of the officers found something that made him stop. It was a small piece of equipment. A backup power cell for the ship's systems. He turned it over in his hands. Frowning, "This is human technology," he said slowly. Nari felt ice in her veins. "I don't know what you mean. We're Kelth traders." "No. Look at this." The officer showed it to his companions. "See this design? This is from Earth. I've seen these in the archives. This is human manufacturing." The lead officer's hand moved to his weapon. "Earth is still under quarantine. There should be no human technology in circulation. How did you get this?" Nari's mind raced. She could fight. Her crew was better trained than these officers. But if she fought, if she killed Council personnel, the secret would be out. Humanity's hidden expansion would be exposed. "We bought it from a salvager," Nari said quickly. "Old Earth tech sometimes makes it into the black market. We use it for parts because it's cheap." The officer did not lower his weapon. "All human technology was supposed to be destroyed after the quarantine. Possessing it is illegal. We're taking you into custody for questioning." Nari looked at her crew. They looked back at her, waiting for orders. She could see the question in their eyes. Fight or flight? She chose flight. "Jump, now." The cascade drive activated instantly. Space tore open around the shadow, and the Council officers barely had time to scream before the dimensional rift pulled them apart. The ship vanished, leaving only a ripple in space where it had been. Nari sat back in her chair, breathing hard. "Set course for Colony 7. And send a priority message to Command. They need to know. The Council is starting to notice us." The message reached Admiral Doyun 3 days later. He read it twice, then called an emergency meeting of the Unified Command. It's starting, he told the assembled leaders. The Council is noticing human technology in circulation. They're noticing ships and systems that should be empty. They're asking questions. How long do we have? Asked Fleet Admiral Hyeri Kwan, who commanded the largest battle group in human space. Months, maybe less. Doyun replied. Once they start investigating seriously, they'll find our colonies, our outposts, everything. Then we accelerate the timeline, said Ambassador Sok Jin-oh, one of Earth's top diplomats. We reveal ourselves before they discover us. Control the narrative. Are we ready? Someone asked. Doyun looked around the room. 50 years of secret expansion had transformed humanity. They had 73 colonies now, most of them on worlds the Council had deemed worthless. They had mining operations throughout frontier space. They had ships, weapons, technology that surpassed anything the Council had. But were they ready to face the entire Galactic Council? We don't have a choice anymore, Doyun said. The secret is coming out one way or another. Better if we control how. 3 weeks later, Scout Commander Yuna Song, now old and gray but still sharp, made a discovery that changed everything. Her ship had been conducting long-range reconnaissance near Council space when her sensors picked up something strange, a Council enforcement fleet. 12 capital ships and dozens of support vessels, all moving toward the frontier. Toward human colonies, Yuna sent the warning immediately. All human forces, this is Scout Command. Council military movement detected. They're coming for us. The message spread through human space like wildfire. On every colony, on every station, on every ship, humans received the same warning. The Council knew. The secret was out. But humanity was not caught unprepared. They had spent 50 years planning for this exact moment. Admiral Hyeri Kwan stood on the bridge of the battleship Defiance, watching her fleet assemble. 30 capital ships, all equipped with the latest human technology. Cascade drives, energy shields that could withstand sustained fire, weapon systems that made Council armaments look like children's toys. Where do we meet them? Her tactical officer asked. At Colony 12, Hyeri said. The planet Sanctuary. They've chosen our most populated colony for their first strike. They want to make an example of us. Will we evacuate? Hyeri shook her head. No. We defend. We show them what humanity has become. And we send a message to the entire Council. Earth remembers what you did to us. And Earth is done hiding. The two fleets met in orbit around Sanctuary 3 days later. The Council enforcement fleet arrived first, confident and overwhelming. They had never lost a battle in recorded history. They had no reason to think this would be different. Then the human fleet appeared. The Council commander broadcast a message to the planet below. This is Enforcement Commander Talvin. You are occupying worlds that belong to the Galactic Council. You are operating without authorization. Surrender immediately, or we will open fire. Captain Nari Bay, commanding the Shadow as part of the defense fleet, sent back a reply that had been written by humans across the colonies. This is Captain Nari Bay of Earth. We occupy worlds that you abandoned. We operate with the authority of human determination and human skill. You locked us away because you feared what we might become. Look closely, Commander. Your fear was justified. The Council fleet opened fire. The battle lasted 17 minutes. In those 17 minutes, the enforcement fleet was torn apart. Human ships moved with speed the Council could not match. Human weapons cut through Council shields like paper. Human tactics, developed over centuries of theoretical warfare, proved devastatingly effective against an enemy that had not fought a real battle in millennia. When it was over, not a single Council ship remained intact. Some had been destroyed. Others had been disabled, their crews taken prisoner. The space around Sanctuary was filled with debris and life pods. Nari stood on her bridge, looking at the wreckage, and felt no joy, only grim satisfaction. Send a message to the Council, Admiral Hyeri ordered across all channels. Tell them Earth remembers. Tell them we're not asking for permission anymore. Tell them humanity has returned to the stars. And this time, we're here to stay. The message was broadcast across every council frequency. On every council world, on every council station, beings saw the same thing. Images of human ships. Images of the destroyed enforcement fleet. And one simple message: Earth remembers. The galaxy had forgotten about humanity, treating Earth as a curiosity. A dangerous child locked away for its own good. The galaxy was about to be reminded why humanity was considered dangerous in the first place. The Galactic Council chambers had stood for 8,000 years, a massive structure orbiting a blue star at the center of known space. Inside, representatives from 200 species gathered in emergency session for the first time in 3 centuries. Speaker Valen, now ancient even by his species' long-lived standards, stood before the assembled council. He was the same one who had pronounced judgment on humanity all those years ago. He remembered Earth. He remembered deciding that humans were too dangerous. Now he wished he had been less merciful. He should have destroyed them when he had the chance. The humans have destroyed an enforcement fleet, he announced, his voice carrying through the chamber. 12 capital ships. Gone. 3,000 crew members. Dead or captured. The humans did this in 17 minutes. The chamber erupted in noise. Representatives shouted in dozens of languages, all expressing the same emotions. Shock, fear, anger. "This is impossible," shouted the Kelth representative. "The humans were primitive when we quarantined them. They should still be primitive now. How could they have advanced so far in just 2 centuries? 237 years, corrected Speaker Valen. And we gave them exactly what they needed to advance. Isolation. Pressure. A common enemy. Us. Then we destroy them," said the Valthari military commander. "We send the full council fleet. We reduce Earth to ashes. We end this threat before it grows." "It has already grown," Valen said quietly. "Our intelligence reports show human presence in 73 systems, 73 colonies, and we did not know about a single one. They have been expanding under our noses for decades, and we were too blind to see it." The Kelth representative stood. "Then we destroy all 73 colonies. We cleanse every system. We end humanity. Once and for all. And prove them right?" A new voice spoke. Ambassador Sok Jin-O walked into the council chambers, flanked by 2 human guards in advanced armor. He moved with calm confidence, like he belonged there. "Prove that the council rules through genocide and fear?" The chamber fell silent. No one had invited humans to this session. The fact that they were here meant they had walked past council security. Impossible. But here they stood. "How did you get in here?" Speaker Valen demanded. Sok-Jin smiled. "We've been in your systems for years, Speaker. Your computers, your networks, your security. We know everything about the Council. Every trade route, every military base, every secret. You forgot about us. So you never thought to check if we were watching." He walked to the center of the chamber, unbothered by the weapons now pointed at him. "Earth has a message for the Council. We will join you as full members, with all rights and privileges, or we will dismantle the Council piece by piece. The choice is yours. You dare threaten us?" The Valthari commander stood, his face twisted in rage. "We are the power of this galaxy. We have kept peace for 10,000 years. You have kept stagnation for 10,000 years, Sok-Jin corrected. You became comfortable. Safe. You forgot what it means to innovate, to compete, to struggle. We did not forget. We could not afford to forget. And now we are stronger than you." "Lies," someone shouted. "Then test us," Sok-Jin said simply. "Send your fleets, attack our colonies, see what happens. But know this. For every human world you attack, we will take 2 of yours. For every human ship you destroy, we will destroy 10 of yours. You started this war 2 centuries ago, when you locked us away. We are here to finish it." Speaker Valen stared at the human ambassador. He saw no fear in those eyes. Only determination. The council will not negotiate with terrorists, Valen said finally. Seokjin nodded, as if he had expected this answer. Then we go to war. I am sorry it had to be this way. He turned and walked out, his guards following. No one tried to stop them. 3 hours later, the council declared war on humanity. 6 hours after that, humanity proved why that was a mistake. Fleet Admiral Hyori Kwan commanded the human forces from her flagship, the Unbroken. She had spent her entire life preparing for this moment. Training. Planning. Waiting. Now the waiting was over. All fleets report ready, her tactical officer announced. Hyeri looked at the display showing council space. The enemy had divided their forces, trying to defend multiple systems at once. It was a defensive strategy, one that made sense against a normal threat, but humanity was not a normal threat. Execute Plan Exodus, Hyeri ordered. Across human space, ships began to move. Not toward Council core worlds, but toward their logistics. Supply lines, trade routes, manufacturing centers, all the infrastructure that kept the Council running. The Council expected a direct assault. They got a stranglehold instead. In the Battle of the Convergence, 3 Council armadas met the human fleet, expecting an easy victory. They had numbers, experience, and the confidence of having never lost a war. Hyeri destroyed them in 4 hours. The human cascade drives allowed her ships to jump in and out of battle at will, striking from unexpected angles. Human shields held against sustained fire that should have torn them apart. Human weapons, developed from 2 centuries of theoretical warfare, cut through council ships like they were not even there. But the humans did not just destroy. They captured. Council ships, disabled but intact, were taken as prizes. Council crew members were treated well and returned home with a message. Humanity does not want genocide. Humanity wants respect. Captain Nari Bey led a strike team on a council weapons facility. They took it in less than an hour, against defenders who had never experienced real combat. As she stood in the control room, looking at weapons that the council had built to threaten others, she felt only sadness. Disable it all, she ordered. Don't destroy. Show them we could have been worse, but we chose not to be. The war lasted 3 months. Not because humanity needed that long to win, but because humanity wanted to be sure the Council learned its lesson. Across the galaxy, Council forces discovered what it meant to face an enemy that had spent centuries planning. Human ships appeared in systems that should have been safe. Human forces took bases that should have been impregnable. Human tactics confused and overwhelmed defenders who had never faced anything but the most basic threats. And through it all, humanity remained disciplined. They did not massacre civilians. They did not destroy planets. They did not commit the atrocities that the Council had feared they would. Instead, they proved something far more terrifying to the Council. They proved they were better. Admiral Doyun, now elderly but still in command, stood on Earth and watched the reports come in, victory after victory, not because humans were more violent, but because they were smarter, faster, more adaptable. We've won, his aide told him. No, Doyun said quietly. The war is won. But the real challenge is what comes next. Can we build something better than what the Council had? Or will we become like them? Comfortable and stagnant. The answer came from an unexpected source. Speaker Valen himself traveled to Earth under a flag of truce. He came alone, without guards or weapons. He stood in the same United Earth government building where human leaders had first learned of their exile, and he did something the Council had not done in 10,000 years. He admitted he was wrong. We judged you too quickly, Valen said to the assembled human leaders. We saw your violence and assumed you could never change. We saw your wars and assumed you would only bring chaos. We were wrong. Yes, said Ambassador Seokjin. You were. The Council is prepared to offer terms of surrender, Valen continued. What do you want from us? The room fell silent. This was the moment humanity had been working toward for 200 years. Revenge was within their grasp. They could demand anything. Destroy the council. Take their worlds, make them suffer as humanity had suffered. Instead, Fleet Admiral Hyrie spoke. We want peace. Real peace. Not the peace of stagnation you had before, but peace based on growth and cooperation. We want the council dissolved and replaced with something better. Something where every species has a voice. Not just the strong ones. We want a galaxy where being different is not a crime. Valen looked shocked. You would let the council survive? We would let you join us in building something new, Hyrie said. You made a mistake 2 centuries ago. You can help us make sure that mistake is never repeated. Valen was quiet for a long time. Finally, he nodded. What would you call this new order? The Stellar Commonwealth, said Jiwan Han, who had been elected as humanity's first Commonwealth director. A union of equals. No more council deciding what species are worthy. No more exile. No more prisons of light. And if we refuse, Valen asked, then we continue the war, Jiwan said simply. And you lose. Not because we are more violent, but because we are more determined. Make your choice, Speaker Valen. Join us in building something better, or stand aside and watch us build it without you. Valen looked at the humans gathered before him. 2 centuries ago, his people had judged them too dangerous to exist freely. Now those same humans were offering mercy, offering partnership, offering a future. He made his choice. The council will accept your terms, he said. The Stellar Commonwealth will rise. And perhaps, in time, I can forgive myself for what I did to your species. Perhaps, Seokjin said. But first, you have to help us build something worth forgiving. The war ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The galaxy that had exiled Earth would become something new. Something better. Built on the ruins of the old council, and the determination of a species that refused to stay beaten. Humanity had won. But more importantly, they had proven they deserved to win. 5 years had passed since the war ended. The Stellar Commonwealth was no longer just an idea or a treaty. It was real. Growing. Changing the galaxy in ways no one had expected. Commonwealth Director Jiwan Han stood at the window of the new Commonwealth headquarters, built not on Earth or any council world, but on a neutral station at the edge of explored space. From here, she could see ships from hundreds of species arriving and departing. Trade ships, diplomatic vessels, exploration craft heading into regions the old council had been too afraid to explore. They're still arguing about voting rights, her assistant said, bringing her the latest reports from the Commonwealth Assembly. Jiwan smiled. Good, let them argue. That means they care. The council never argued because no one had a real voice. Now everyone does. The Stellar Commonwealth was messy, complicated, and frustrating. It was also the most democratic system the galaxy had ever seen. Every member species had representation. Every world had a vote. Decisions took longer, but they were fairer. And at the center of it all was humanity. Not as conquerors, but as mediators. There's a dispute between the Kelth and the Vryn, the assistant continued. They've been fighting over mining rights in the Outer Rim for 3 centuries. Both sides are demanding arbitration. Send Ambassador Seokjin, Jiwan said immediately. He's good at this. Ambassador Seokjin-o had become famous across the galaxy for his ability to find solutions where others saw only problems. He had negotiated peace between species that had been enemies for millennia, not through threats or force, but through patience and understanding. Also, Admiral Hyrie wants to discuss the exploration initiative, the assistant added. Jiwan nodded. Tell her I'll be there in an hour. Fleet Admiral Hyrie Kwan had taken on a new role after the war. Instead of commanding battle fleets, she now led the Commonwealth Exploration Corps, a joint venture between dozens of species to map and explore the unknown regions of the galaxy. Jiwan found her in the planning room, standing over a massive map of the galaxy. Red areas marked explored space. Black areas marked the unknown. There's so much we haven't seen, Hyrie said without looking up. The old council explored maybe 20% of the galaxy. 20%! and they just stopped, satisfied with what they had. Can you imagine? Ji-won could not. Humanity had been locked in a cage for centuries. The idea of voluntarily stopping exploration seemed insane. How many ships are ready for the new expedition? She asked. 47, Hyrie replied. From 16 different species, including Valthari. If you can believe it. 5 years ago, we were fighting them. Now they're exploring the unknown with us. That's what the Commonwealth is about, Ji-won said, moving forward together. But not everyone was happy with the new order. In the outer colonies, Captain Nari Bay dealt with a different kind of problem. Pirates had attacked a small settlement on the frontier, stealing supplies and leaving people hurt. The settlement was Kelth, one of the species that had been part of the old council. Nari arrived with her ship, the Shadow, now officially part of the Commonwealth Defense Force. She expected the Kelth settlers to be hostile. Humans and Kelth had not been friends during the war. Instead, the settlement leader greeted her with relief. "Thank you for coming," he said. "We sent a request for help 3 days ago. Under the old council, it would have taken weeks for anyone to respond, if they responded at all." Nari felt something strange in her chest. Pride, maybe. Or satisfaction. We're all Commonwealth now. When one of us is in trouble, all of us respond. She tracked the pirates to their base, a hidden station in an asteroid field. Instead of destroying it, she disabled their ships and arrested the pirates. They would face trial in a Commonwealth court, not execution by military force. "You could have just killed us," the pirate leader said, as he was being taken into custody. "That's what the old council would have done." "We're not the old council," Nari replied. "The Commonwealth believes in justice, not revenge." Back on Earth, things were changing too. The planet that had been a prison was now the beating heart of something new. Students from across the galaxy came to study at human universities, learning science, engineering, and the philosophy that had driven humanity's rise. Professor Junho Nam, now head of the Commonwealth Science Academy, taught a class on innovation. His students were a mix of species, all eager to learn. "The key to advancement is pressure," he explained. "Not just external pressure, but the pressure you put on yourselves. For 2 centuries, humanity had no choice but to advance or die. We chose to advance. That is what I want to teach you. Not the specific technologies, but the mindset that creates them." A Volthari student raised her hand. "But, Professor, your species was forced to innovate because of exile. Are you saying we should create similar conditions?" Junho shook his head. "No. We should create the conditions for natural innovation. Competition, yes, but friendly competition. Challenges, yes, but challenges we choose. The Commonwealth gives you all the opportunity to grow without the isolation humanity endured." After class, a group of students approached him. They were working on a joint project, trying to combine human shield technology with Valthari energy systems. The kind of cooperation that would have been impossible 5 years ago. "We're stuck on the power distribution problem," one student explained. "The systems don't want to integrate." Junho looked at their work and smiled. "Have you tried asking engineers from both species to work together? Not just sharing data, but actually collaborating?" The students looked at each other. Under the old council, species rarely worked together on anything. Each civilization guarded its technology jealously. "That's actually a good idea," the Valthari student said. "That's the Commonwealth way," Junho replied. "We're stronger together than apart." But the biggest challenge facing the Commonwealth was not technological or diplomatic. It was philosophical. Former Speaker Valen, now serving as an advisor to the Commonwealth, met with Ji-won in private. He looked tired, older than his already ancient years. "Some of the old council species are uncomfortable with the new order," he admitted. "They were powerful under the old system. Now they have to compete fairly with everyone else. They don't like it. Do they want to go back to the old ways?" Ji-won asked. "Some do," Valen said. "They remember when they could make decisions without having to consult others. when they could ignore species they deemed less important. They see the Commonwealth as weakness. Jiwan leaned back in her chair. And what do you see? Valen was quiet for a moment. I see my mistake corrected. I see a galaxy that is finally growing again. But I also see that change is hard, especially for those who benefited from the old system. You need to be careful, Director. Not everyone wants the Commonwealth to succeed. Jiwan understood. The Commonwealth was an experiment, and experiments could fail. That night, she called a meeting of the senior leadership. Admiral Hyeri, Ambassador Sokjin, Professor Junho, Captain Nari, and others gathered. We've built something incredible, Jiwan told them, but building is easier than maintaining. The Commonwealth will face challenges. Some species will resist. Some will try to return to the old ways. How do we keep this alive? By being better, Hyeri said. Every single day, we prove that the Commonwealth way is superior. Not through force, but through results. By helping others, Sokjin added. When species see that the Commonwealth improves their lives, they'll support it. By teaching, Junho said, we educate the next generation to think differently, to see cooperation as strength, not weakness. By protecting, Nari finished. We defend the Commonwealth from those who would destroy it. But we do it justly, not cruelly. Jiwan looked at them and felt hope. These were the people who had taken humanity from exile to leadership. If anyone could make the Commonwealth work, it was them. 10 years after the war, the Commonwealth had grown to include 300 species. New worlds joined every month. The galaxy was more connected, more peaceful, and more innovative than ever before. But humanity never forgot where they came from. On Earth, in the center of the capital city, stood a monument. It was simple. A wall of blue light, similar to the barrier that had once imprisoned them, and carved into the base were words that every human child learned. Forged in exile, never again. Every human ship carried these words somewhere on its hull. Every human officer swore an oath to remember. Not for revenge, but as a reminder. A reminder that being cast aside did not mean being defeated. A reminder that isolation could breed strength if you refuse to give up. And a reminder that those who underestimate humanity do so at their own risk. Jiwan Han, now old and preparing to step down as Commonwealth Director, stood before that monument one last time. She had spent her entire adult life building the Commonwealth, shaping it, defending it. Do you think it will last? A young reporter asked her. Jiwan smiled. Nothing lasts forever. But the Commonwealth has a foundation the old council never had. It's built on mutual respect, not fear. On cooperation, not domination. As long as people remember why we built this, as long as they remember that we're stronger together than apart, it will endure. And humanity's role? The reporter pressed. Humanity will do what we've always done, Jiwan said. We'll push forward. We'll explore. We'll innovate. We'll help others do the same. We're not here to rule the galaxy. We're here to make sure the galaxy never stops growing. She looked up at the blue light of the monument, remembering the barrier that had once seemed unbreakable. They exiled Earth thinking we would learn our place, she said softly. Instead, we learned our potential. And we used that lesson to reshape the stars. The galaxy had cast humanity aside, judging them too dangerous, too violent, too unpredictable. They were right about humanity being dangerous, but they had misunderstood what kind of danger humanity represented. Not the danger of destruction, but the danger of change. The danger of refusing to accept limits. The danger of never stopping, never settling, never being satisfied with the way things are. The galaxy exiled Earth. In doing so, they created the force that would transform everything they knew. And humanity, forged in that exile, would make sure that transformation lasted for generations to come. The stars belonged to everyone now, but they would forever remember who taught them that lesson.